where I really go through blow by blow. What is commodity pricing? What is making a good? What is delivering a service? What is a staged experience? And what is a guided transformation? For our purposes, what we want to know is that the progression of economic value, so the value of money, like how does it advance with time? How does it progress? So highest value in premium pricing is called guided transformation. Now, what's crazy to me about this, I don't know about you, but what's crazy to me about this is like, that's what the economists named it. Like that wasn't named by a bunch of healers. And for some reason, I find that endlessly entertaining because, I mean, doesn't it sound like terminology that we would come up with, right? Isn't that so us, like guiding the transformation? But actually, this is an economics term. And so if you look up the stages of economic development, you're going to find that right before guided transformation, that which is of less value and therefore is priced accordingly to having less value is a staged experience. If any of you, some of you might use staged experiences in your business in one of your income streams. Like if you are a Bikram yoga teacher, that's kind of a good example of a staged experience where like anyone can drop into a 90-minute intermediate Bikram yoga class and the temperature of the room is going to be a certain temperature. That's always going to be that way. The flow of the poses is going to be exactly what it would be if you took that same class 2 hours later. Right there, it's a very much a stage. You know exactly what you're getting, kind of a deal. So guided transformation is different. There's a lot more creativity within guided transformation. And I'm not saying Bikram yoga is not transformative. I'm disclaimer alert, right? Like I'm all for yoga. I don't care what we need to call it or how we do it, right? Guided transformation is saying that the individual who's the investor or the purchaser is going to actually transform in the experience of it, and that it's going to be unique to the individual going to that. And we need to know as healers that we are actually naturally seated in premium pricing. Now, why is this significant? I just told you that like most of what I teach, most of what I guide people through is free, right? I mean, they pay me to teach them the things to do that are free. And my guess is a lot of you do too, because once they have the knowledge base, they can practice themselves. They can do it themselves. They have the lifestyle habits and the deep embodied wisdom to do it themselves, but they're not doing it when they meet you. They're not doing the things that they will be doing after you guide them through a transformation. So my question to you, and just write it down, like what transformation are you guiding? I often talk about this as an A to B. Where are they starting when they meet you? They may have health issues. They might be mental health, spiritual health, might be physical health. It might be relational health, especially if you're in mental health counseling, right? There's a huge variety of issues that people have. So in the most broad strokes, what is the transformation that you are guiding? And that's the A to B. And what we know is that between A and B, it's a journey, right? It's not as easy as getting from here to getting there. I had an extended family member posted on Facebook that now, and she and I are the same age, we were born the same year. We had very different lifestyle choices. And by the time we were young adults, she was obese, and she hasn't reversed that. We know obesity is a disease of chronic inflammation. And one of the key issues with people with obesity is joints. Particularly their knees and their hips deteriorate. And so then they need joint replacement surgery. There's an enormous cost to that. So if she's been obese going on 30 years, for her to get from A to B is a journey. Wouldn't we agree? Like not an easy route, like very many embedded habits within that. So for right now, she's looking at 2 knee replacement surgeries, right? And she's not an elderly person. So if we really look at health issues, A to B, if we really look at mental health, spiritual health, anything, right? So what you want to know is that the journey, when you might look at it, it might seem like, oh, it's kind of easy, but it's really not. It's really not. And that's why in this image, What I have here is a number of obstacles. There's mountains, there's a river to cross, there's a forest to navigate, there's a rock wall at the end, right? And this is often how guided transformation works. It's not linear, right? And what I have found over time is that the journey takes time. So if you're not packaging based on how long it takes to get to the result, how long it takes to guide the transformation, which goes to the result, right? Then you're doing a disservice to your clients, students, patients, depending on your title. You're doing a disservice, that your business model is doing a disservice because it's not actually getting people across the finish line. This often is not taught in yoga teacher training. It wasn't taught to me in yoga teacher training, Ayurvedic practitioner training, enlightenment meditation training. Like, I went through a number of different professional modality trainings, and that was never talked about. How do you structure a business model that's results focused? How do you do pricing that's results focused? How do you have a marketing and sales process that's results focused? So if you also haven't been trained this, like, yay, that's why we're here, like that, because it's actually pretty, it's easy to learn. Like any journey, it's a little treacherous to implement, right? And there's often like very poor examples everywhere you look. Just like someone who's trying to lose weight, if they're eating McDonald's, there's not a lot of good examples around, right? And that's kind of how it can go. As you can see, a lot of other people. I was talking with a business owner who's bragging about her success, and I started asking her about her profit margin, and her profit margin like was negative. Like, she doesn't actually have a business. She has a hobby that's costing her money that she's calling a business. And this the kind of stuff is not uncommon within our industry, where healers just aren't used to talking about money. They're not often number friendly with their own numbers in terms of how much revenue they're earning and what their expenses are, and how to increase their revenue, right? So what I'd like to say is that just gets normal with practice. Okay, so journeys take time. That's where we left off. I've landed on a year to 2 years. So I'm on the extreme side of the spectrum. That's where I've landed. After 20 years of experience here, I've landed on the extreme end of time is my friend.